te amorangi ki mua ko te hāpai o ki muri. Kia tauiho o na mana ki tanga ki runga ki tēnā o tātai. He honore he kroria he mau ngā rongo ki runga ki te mato o te whenua, he whakaro pai ki ngā tangata katoa. Arohaina ngā teina, me ngā tuakana e noho nei i rungi te whakaro kotahi, pai marire.
Please be seated. E ngā mana, e ngā reo, e ngā iwi o ngā hauewha, tēnei aku mihi mahana ki o koutou. Nau mai, hara mai, ki te whare nei, te whare o te kāwana tianara, ki Whanganuiatara. Distinguished guests, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to Government House in Wellington for today's investiture ceremony. I'd like to specifically acknowledge the Honourable Simon Watts, Minister of the Crown, Air Marshal Tony Davies, Chief of Defence Force, Rear Admiral Matthew Williams, Vice Chief of Defence Force, Rear Admiral Garin Golding, Chief of Navy, Major General Rose King, Chief of Army, Air Vice Marshal Darren Webb, Chief of Air Force, Major General Robert Krushka, Commander Joint Forces New Zealand, Air Vice Marshal Andy Woods, Chief of Defence Force Services, Jacinda Funnell, Chief People Officer of New Zealand Defence Force, Mr Joe Harawira, Kaumātua, and Mrs Rānui Ngārimu Kuia. We are obviously very blessed to have New Zealand Defence Force in the House today. Tēnā koutou katoa. Hosting investiture ceremonies is one of the most important duties that I perform on behalf of His Majesty, the King of New Zealand. I'm delighted to bring together such an extraordinary group of New Zealanders. You have each brought pride and a greater sense of well-being to our country. Your outstanding achievements and your service to our communities is truly a testament to all. On behalf of all New Zealanders, I extend my sincerest thanks to you for your contributions. After each recipient is honoured, I invite you to join with me in congratulating them. Ms. Catriona McLeod will now summon the recipients and read their citations.
Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a Companion of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mrs. Kenny Choy of Wellington, for services to the environment and governance. Kenny Choy is a chemical and environment engineer and a qualified international expert on greenhouse gas inventory. She was nominated as the New Zealand International Expert for the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change on greenhouse gas inventory and contributes to several processes mandated by the United Nations. She is Deputy President of Engineering New Zealand, the first Asian woman on the board in its 110-year history. She chaired Engineering New Zealand's Wellington branch. She is Chief Executive of the New Zealand Geothermal Association, a global board member of the USA Geothermal Resources Council, and Chair of the International Partnership of Geothermal Technologies. Mrs. Choy is a Director of the Wellington Cable Car and Venture Taranaki and the President of the Scots College Parents Association. Mrs. Kenny Choy, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Major General retired John Boswell of Wellington for services to the New Zealand Defence Force. Major General John Boswell had a distinguished career with the New Zealand Defence Force, NZDF, from 1984 until his retirement in 2024. He had postings to the 1st and 2nd Infantry Battalion, including as the commanding officer of the 2nd 1st Battalion, and has been deployed on numerous operational missions, including deployments to Angola, the Middle East and Timor-Leste, and as commander of New Zealand's Provincial Reconstruction Team to Afghanistan. He served as Chief of Army between 2018 and 2024, during which time the Army responded to numerous domestic and international crises. He is an advocate for the networked-enabled Army and has worked tirelessly for the welfare and well-being of Army personnel. Major General Boswell previously served as Assistant Chief of Strategic Commitments and Land Component Commander with the NZDF. Major General John Boswell, please come forward. Mr. Andrew Dunn of Oamaru for services to people with Parkinson's disease. Andrew Dunn co-founded Parkinson's New Zealand and has volunteered with the organisation for the past 40 years, including as President, National Councillor, Board Chairperson and National Coordinator. He has established Parkinson's New Zealand's Field Officer Service, where professionals visit people living with Parkinson's disease at home. The organisation now has 17 volunteer support groups, which have expanded to include exercise, physiotherapy, Tai Chi, swimming, and more. He has been involved with the Wellington, Hawke's Bay, Canterbury, and Otago divisions over the years, and has represented the organisation at a number of international conferences. He has been an active member of the organisation's national board, serving as the chair for several terms. During his term as president, Mr. Dunn encouraged the Upbeat Special Interest Group for people with young onset Parkinson's. Mr. Andrew Dunn, please come forward. Professor Tricia Farrell of Palmerston North for services to ecology. Professor Tricia Farrell has developed a strong reputation in the field of political and environmental ecology, particularly plastic pollution. She is a leading independent scientific voice in New Zealand amongst international agencies, influencing international conventions, regulations, and policies regarding the health, biodiversity, socio-economic, and climate impacts of plastic pollution. In her multiple roles, including as coordinator of a 400-strong international body of independent plastic scientists and as member of the United Nations Scientific Advisory Committee for Plastics, she has had a leading role in forming the future governance of the full life cycle plastics in New Zealand and internationally. Her research has informed Pacific Islands policy and the United Nations Environment Global Plastic Treaty process. Professor Farrell co-founded the Aotearoa Plastic Pollution Alliance and the New Zealand Product Stewardship Council. Professor Tricia Farrell, please come forward. Rear Admiral retired David Proctctor of Kingston, Australia, for services to the New Zealand Defence Force. Rear Admiral David Proctctor, Ngāti Koroki Kahukura, has been a member of the Royal New Zealand Navy since 1987 and served as Chief of Navy from 2018 until his retirement in 2024. He was the Commander and New Zealand Senior National Officer in Timor-Leste, leading the New Zealand Defence Force drawdown on conclusion of operations. He has held numerous senior logistics roles in New Zealand and represented New Zealand overseas in training and leadership roles. At the strategic leadership level, he served as the Commander Logistics, Chief of Defence Strategy and Governance, Deputy Commander Joint Operations, and Acting Vice Chief of Defence Force. Rear Admiral Proctctor led the Royal New Zealand Navy following the Whakaari Island eruption and during the COVID-19 pandemic, Cyclone Gabrielle response, and other significant events. Rear Admiral David Proctctor, please come forward. Ms. Cheryl Wilson of Christchurch for services to early childhood education. Cheryl Wilson is Chief Executive of the Canterbury Westland Kindergarten Association, trading as Kids First Kindergartens, the South Island's largest not-for-profit early childhood education provider. She has balanced a strong social responsibility to families and communities with the need to grow, develop, and remain viable and relevant. She led the organisation through the Christchurch earthquakes, the Pike River mine disaster, the Christchurch mosque's terrorist attack, and the COVID-19 lockdowns, making herself available at all hours and providing personal support to staff and families. She is a long-time employer representative for the Kindergarten Teachers Collective Agreement. She represents Kids First, New Zealand kindergartens, and the ECE sector on numerous organisations, working groups, panels, governance groups and committees throughout New Zealand. Ms. Wilson is a Fellow of Chartered Accountants Australia and New Zealand. Ms. Cheryl Wilson, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. David Kent of Kauai, for services to the deaf and hard of hearing community. David Kent chairs the Southern Hearing Charitable Trust Board. He has campaigned for an increase in captioning for free-to-air television and digital media. He helped develop a public health program aimed at driving a change in the hearing health sector, with a focus on early intervention, healthy ageing, and reducing inequities for Māori and Pacific communities. He has increased available funding for adult cochlear implants for the southern region. He was appointed to the ABLE, Making Media Accessible National Board. He is Deputy Chair of the National Foundation for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. Mr. Kent secured sponsorship for an annual scholarship with the Southern Hearing Charitable Trust. Mr. David Kent, please come forward. Ms. Nicola Macdonald of Auckland for services to the environment. Nicola Macdonald, Ngāti Wai, Te Rarawa, Taranaki, is a tangata whenua representative and co-chair on the Hauraki Gulf Forum. She spearheaded the world's largest shellfish bed restoration. With the University of Auckland, she co-investigated mussel spat research, replacing plastic with natural fibre ropes. She chaired the Auckland Conservation Board. She is a member of Tangaroa, the Ocean Conservation Rōpū, within the National Iwi Chairs Forum. She has advocated conservation as Pōtaio Chair of the Tamaki Makaurau Mana Whenua Forum. As Chief Executive of Ngāti Manuhiri Settlement Trust, Ms. Macdonald helped establish Te Ao o Moana, an Indigenous-led oceans program of protection, restoration and monitoring. Ms. Nicola Macdonald, please come forward. Ms. Adele Mason of Wellington for services to New Zealand-Asia relations. Adele Mason is Deputy Chief Executive of the Asia-New Zealand Foundation, a non-profit, non-partisan charity which focuses on continued improvement in education on New Zealand-Asia relations. She has led the Foundation's Te Ao Māori Journey and Māori Engagement. She works with the Foundation's leadership network to engage with diverse young New Zealanders, helping grow their confidence, knowledge, and connections to Asia, and supporting programs including business and media internships and cultural festivals. She helped develop the Entrepreneurship Program, which supports emerging entrepreneurs to build connections and facilitate business relationships in Asia. Ms. Mason has maintained the Foundation's relationship with Asia through its network of Asia Honorary Advisors. Ms. Adele Mason, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of the New Zealand Antarctic Medal, Mr. Colin Monteth of Christchurch for services to Antarctic field support, archival preservation, literature and photography. Colin Monteth has contributed to Antarctica in the areas of tourism and library services and as a researcher, photographer and author, since being awarded a Queen's Service Medal for his contributions to the Mount Erebus 1979 air crash recovery operation. After working for the New Zealand Antarctic Research Programme as Field Operations Officer from 1973 to 1983, Mr. Monteth established his reference library on Antarctic and Arctic books and archival material, which is now New Zealand's most extensive polar library. He assists authors and publishers, both nationally and internationally, with information and historic images, and his library is used by researchers, expeditioners, and the University of Canterbury. He is a life member of the New Zealand Antarctica Society and is recognised internationally as a leading authority on Antarctica, with his work spanning 51 years. He has advocated for and promoted conservation practices, as well as safety and security practices. He has been a photographer and author, co-author for numerous book projects, including Wild Ice Antarctic Journeys, 1990, Vanishing Wilderness of Antarctica, 2010, and his award-winning 2023 book, Erebus, the Ice Dragon, a portrait of an Antarctic volcano. Notably, he was principal photographer for the 1985 Reader's Digest book, Antarctica, and his Antarctic photographs have since been published in dozens of polar books. From 1983 to 2020, Mr. Monteth worked as an expedition leader, lecturer, and guide for various polar cruise and adventure companies. Mr. Colin Monteth, please come forward. To receive the insignia of the New Zealand Distinguished Service Decoration, Squadron Leader Paul Stockley for services to the New Zealand Defence Force. Squadron Leader Paul Stockley has devoted more than 32 years to the New Zealand Defence Force as a pilot and instructor. As a qualified flying instructor since 1996, Squadron Leader Stockley has flown for New Zealand, Australia, and the United Kingdom. He has served with the Royal Air Force, flying the short Tucano, which included a tour as officer commanding 207R Squadron. As the New Zealand Exchange Officer, he has flown with the Royal Australian Air Force. He has flown with the Red Checkers aerobatic team, flying the CT-4 Air Trainer, and led the Royal New Zealand Air Force, RNZAF, aerobatic team, the Black Falcons. He was a qualified pilot with the Air Force Heritage Flight, with a North American Harvard and Grumman Avenger rating, and was assigned the only Grumman Avenger display pilot for the Air Force Heritage Flight. He has contributed to the T6C Texan Introduction into Service, instructing and managing pilots on their first organic flying instructors course on the aircraft, through the development of training and syllabus material. Throughout his career, Squadron Leader Stockley has filled every key leadership position in the RNZAF flying training system, including Commander Officer Flying Training Wing as a wing commander, Officer Commanding Central Flying School, and Officer Commanding Pilot Training Squadron. Squadron Leader Paul Stockley, please come forward. Your Excellency, the investiture has concluded.
New Zealand's honours system is our highest public affirmation of outstanding individual achievement. It reinforces those things that make our society better: service, manaakitanga, and the pursuit of excellence. To our recipients, it has really been a privilege to hear your stories. You have each used your talents and abilities, your knowledge and skills to improve the lives of fellow New Zealanders. In doing so, you embodied the sentiments expressed by Archbishop Desmond Tutu when he said, "Serve others. The unfailing recipe for happiness and success is to want the good of others." Please wear your insignia with pride at every opportunity, knowing that you inspire others by doing so. On behalf of the King of New Zealand and all New Zealanders, I congratulate you and thank you once again for all of your achievements and your service to our country. Kia ora, e hui hui mai nei tātou i tēnei ahiahi. Now, very shortly, the formal part of this afternoon will conclude, and I welcome you to enjoy the hospitality of the house and the special time amongst your family and friends. First, though, before that, I invite you to look on the back of your programs and see the national anthem in te reo and in English, and I invite you to stand with me and join in singing the national anthem.